Okay, welcome back, guys. If anybody has come back, that is. This is Chris Gone Wild. Not out on a wild camp today, guys. You can see beautiful scenery behind me. I'm actually in a manor house in Torbay. I won't give the location away because it wouldn't be fair on the owners. I have got permission to be here. It is an abandoned manor house. Actually, my boss and my company has bought. They will be renovating, but I'm quite lucky. I do live on the grounds here in one of the cottages, and I do have permission to camp in the woodlands, which I do a lot of my hammocking down here when I don't want to travel. But as you can see, guys, it's a beautiful, beautiful place, and obviously I'm heading up into the woodlands now, and I just thought I'd come down. I've got a quiet day, didn't go camping this weekend. A few house chores which we've got out of the way. I got itchy feet this afternoon, so keep talking about a lot of my gear, and I thought I'd come down and set one of my hammock systems up and do a bit of a review on my hammock systems. I've got Arlo with me as well. But yeah, just going to sit and have a coffee, guys in the hammock, and like I say, I'll do a little bit of a hammock review on one of the systems I use and see what you guys think about it. Okay, so I'll bring you back soon when I'm in the woods. Right guys, this is the setup, or one of my setups. This is autumn outdoor gear hammock, the juniper hammock. It's a cottage vendor in America and she makes them all to order, and the quality, believe me guys, and this is why I wanted to show you one of my setups. I see a lot of especially on the English Facebook sites, hammocking sites, it's, you know, we're a little bit behind the Americans with the quality and the cut of the gear they're using out there. You know, you got DD hammocks over here, budget hammocks really compared to what the Americans are using, coming out with, and the Dutch, and the Hammock. I've got the Hammock as well. That's actually an Hammock tarp. I've not deployed it, I don't really need to, but just to show you guys really in the snake skin that if the weather's coming in, obviously you just pull that snake skin back, and within seconds, 4 pegs in. Always carry my hiking poles as well when I'm hammock camping, if I wanted to put into porch mode. But yeah, really quick setup with a snake skin on your tarps, to put away and to deploy. I use the fish hooks, they're called. I think Warbonnet do these titanium fish hooks, they call them, and I like them because they're a good drip from your suspension before it hits your hammock. This particular hang gear, as you can see, I'm using the lightweight, and they are lightweight. I think they're 20mm in diameter daisy chains from Henge Hammocks. Normally I use whoopee slings, but this hang gear isn't actually long enough for me to justify using whoopee slings, because by the time you get your tree straps around, actually the tree straps are long enough to do the hang, with mine being daisy chain tree straps as well. But I do always carry whoopee slings and extra tree straps, because some of the places we go to on Dartmoor, the tree distance apart is quite far, and that's where you need to have other options with hammock camping. You can see I've got an under quilt protector on. This is from Dutchware, and it's an argon material, again windproof, and that just stops the wind, as you guys know, taking all the heat away from your underquilt. And my underquilt is Trailheads. Again, it's American guys, you know. Not saying you can get good underquilts in Europe, some very good ones actually, but there's just a couple of companies I've been dealing with in America, and I'm really pleased with their products and their service. Like the guy who made this, you know, when I ordered it, you know, he actually rang me up from America, because I'd put a different argon density on the inner. This is actually, I think, one of the lightest argons you can get. The inner anyway is, I think, about 7, and the outer is a little bit heavier, but it's just so it can all breathe that much better, especially in the UK environment, damp environments. And then obviously that's me hammock. Inside the bug net is open and chucked back. Ridgeline organizer, phone, bits and bobs. I think I've got a me pretzel. It's head torch, but I use it for the hammock and the tent. It's 2 birds with 1 stone, I think, with the pretzel case. I do like it. It's basically my lamp for my tent or my hammock. But in the same breath, you know, if I ever have problems with my head torch when I'm out on a wild camp, it is a spare head torch as well. So yeah, quite like that little headlamp. But yeah, that's basically the hammock, guys. Beautiful to lay in. I'll get a shot a bit later of me laying it, but obviously a diagonal lay, and it's so easy to get a diagonal lay in this hammock, 11-foot hammock. And yeah, I sleep comfier in this hammock than I do in my bed at home. The only thing I haven't brought with me today, guys, is obviously because I've explained I'm down at the Manor, which is on my doorstep. I'm not actually doing a hammock tonight. I didn't bring my quilt, but yeah, I'll use a hammock gear quilt, top quilt, a 20-degree top quilt, and I find I use that all year round. In the winter, I might have to layer up a bit of down. In the summer months, I might have to chop the quilt off a little bit, but I find the 20-degree top quilt, which I think is in English money rated down to about -6, covers pretty much the coldest weather. I mean, we've camped out, hammock camped up in Dartmoor, -4 during the winter months. And I've been toasty, you know, and again, I use the same top quilt for my tent camping during the summer as well, and I find it fine for that as well. So yeah, 20 degrees the one for me. You know, 0 degrees are great, but a bit too warm in the summer. So I find the 20-degree under quilt and top quilt really does suit me. But yeah, that's basically one of my hammock system, guys. And the other one I use is actually the Hammock, which is a lay flat hammock, and you can go into chair mode on it as well. Also another very comfortable hammock, very unusual, but I love it. I love them both just as much. Same as I do my tent camping, guys. You know, I've got no preference over one or the other. Some people say, you know, they'd never sleep in a tent again after being in a hammock, but different occasions for me, depending on where I am, what I'm doing, what the weather's doing. But I love it all. In the tent, I sleep great as well. And funny enough, with the hammock system, which I've not got here today, it comes with a sleeping pad for the hammock. And that sleeping pad, the Hammock Winterlight, very warm sleeping pad, very well built sleeping pad, and I use that for my hammock obviously, and if I'm out in the tent, that's the sleeping pad I use of choice. I have tried others, but for comfort and warmth, that pad is great. I will do a review on that pad. Difficult to film, but yeah, laying in my hammock. But just to show you, say it is difficult to film how flat a lay you get in these hammocks. I'm not lying with the hammock, as you can see. I'm laying across, and believe me, I am pretty flat. You can see the underquilt's tucking up nicely on all corners of the hammock. And yeah, ridgeline organizer. I've got another bag at that end as well, put bits and bobs in. Yeah, difficult to get a video while I'm lying in the hammock, but if you've never tried it, guys, give it a go. So I sleep better in this hammock than my bed at home, and believe me, that's not a bad view to wake up to. Beauty with a hammock, you've got no pressure points on your body, especially if you get the diagonal lay. Don't lie with the hammock. I use the ridge line as a clock, so ridge line 12 o'clock at my head, and I lay at about 1-2 o'clock with my head, and 7-8 o'clock with my feet. As you can see, you can imagine that was the clock working round towards. But yeah, basically I use the ridge line as a 12 o'clock 6 o'clock line, and if you put your head at sort of 1-2 o'clock to get that diagonal lay, And every hammock is slightly different depending on the cut, the length, the width. And that's where the Americans have got it so right with comfortable lay in the hammock. Trangier I'm using. I do like using the Trangier when I'm, especially woodland camps. It's just nice, quiet. Gas stoves can be quick, but they're very loud. And woodland camping, I do enjoy the noises of the birds. And the old gas stove does interfere with that sometimes, I find a little bit. That's the bee-free water purifying bottle. Flow rate out of these are great compared to a lot of others. Just waiting for that stove to bloom. It doesn't take too long. That's it. I think that Trangier's bloomed now. Just thought I'd show you a closer look at the stove system I was talking about earlier, guys. This is Trangier stove I use, and the windbreak is just a Lixada titanium windbreak. Now, what I've found works ideal for me is this little stand. It came with a Highlander jet boil style gas burner, but I find the pot stand, as you can see, a little bit of foil under it, and the Trangier actually drops down 1/4 inch lower than the windshield sits. So for distance from pot to windshield is actually great. I find it better, and I've done lots of trials and tests. I find it better. I mean, these have got the heat exchangers on anyway, which is about 1.25 inches in this one, on this particular pot. The fire maple's a bit less. but the pot sits on top, and I find distance between the burner to the pot actually quite quick boil times, especially with these heat exchangers on the bottom of the cups. It's a different lid I use for the Trangia. That's a red camp one, but I just find with that handle you can see there, compared to the Trangia one, the original Trangia lid, I just find that so much easier to put on and off. You can put it at angles, drop it down from above, and that handle works great. Also, when I'm using my bush box with the Trangia, yeah, I just find that handle works great. So I've swapped the lids out on the original Trangia stove. There's Soto lighter there for lighting the alcohol stoves. I just find the jet burners obviously better. And that's something else I wanted to mention earlier. I was talking about my hammock setup is the one wind sock I use. They're great, and one wind actually was the first hammock system I bought, and I regret selling it actually, because it's a great company and they do some great products. But the sock, so I've not actually put on today. In the winter months when the weather's really bad, wind and rain, that sock sits on the end of my hammock here, and you literally, it's got a wide end that pulls right through everything, and the windproof sock completely covers the hammock, and it's got a zip entry the length of the hammock in the windsock. And it's brilliant. I love it. I mean, a lot of people go for the full-on winter setups with their tarps, which is fine, but you know, I find if the wind's going to be that strong, it doesn't matter what poles or setup you've got on your tarp, that tarp is going to blow. And the beauty of the windsock, it doesn't really matter how hard the wind's blowing. You're not relying on the tarp to keep the wind off you. And they're shower proof as well, so they keep an element of rain off you. They've got a window. I'll show you next time I've got it set up. They got a window in the sock as well. And it's a difference about 6 or 7 degrees from being in the windsock or not having it on. And yeah, great bit of kit, that, the one wind windsock, and one wind hammocks and gear actually, for a budget company. It's actually top quality gear. I've had their 11-foot hammocks, I've had their 12-foot hammocks, I've had several of their tarps. Yeah, and like I say, I sold actually my one wind setup to fund getting some of this gear I've got now. Yeah, I'm limited on space where I live as well, so I'm not one of these who can have 10 tents and X amount of hammocks. You know, I've got 2 hammocks. I've got the one tent, the Terra Nova Pioneer, which I use on Dartmoor a lot. And obviously, yeah, if you've watched any of my previous videos, I do a lot of the tent boxing as well. I've got the tent box, as well as kayaking. But I am limited on space in my house, so you know, I do tend to use what I've got. And if that wears out, like this hammock, at any time, you know, I've been using this for a couple of years now, it's still going strong. The build quality off these cottage vendors, American and UK, you know, they're not mainstream, especially Autumn Outdoor Gears, the Juniper hammock here she's made. I think it's probably the only one of this colour in this country. She actually messaged me when she's seen some pictures of this hammock on Facebook, saying she remembered making it. But yeah, the attention to detail from these cottage vendors, and it's the same with, you know, trailheads. The gear they do is absolutely amazing. As you know, the Americans are pretty big on their hammocking, and so are we in the UK. And unfortunately, there's just, say, there is a few companies with doing decent gear over this end, but compared to America, you know, the amount of companies out there doing top gear, it's the way I've gone anyway. You know, a little bit more expensive, but I am a little bit of a tackle tart with whatever hobbies I do. I don't mind admitting. Anyway, guys, I'm going to enjoy my coffee before it goes cold. Arlo's chilling. He'll be ready for his tea in a minute. Venison, spoilt rotten. Eats better than me, he does. Not took him out hammock camping. I don't think it would work. Okay, that's me all packed up. That's where the hammock was hanging. Been down here for a couple of hours with Arlo, which has been nice. And sometimes that's all it takes to get out. A couple of hours, it just resets that mind. Still leave no trace, guys, as normal, even though I'm allowed to be in here. It's no different. I want to look after the place, and these trees will be here for a lot longer than I will be, and we want to look after what we're using. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed a quick look at my hammock setup, and hopefully I'll see you soon.